Hey everyone, welcome back to Integrative Psychonautics. Hope you're doing well out there. In today's video, I thought we'd do something a little bit different from my normal kind of just riffing on unprompted material that seems to be either a brain dump or a theme that I'm seeing across different, places on the internet. And instead, I would kind of answer a question from one of the viewers here a little more directly. So building more of a conversation here. So today we're going to be talking about this question of why it is that some people, when they take psychedelics, kind of immediately have a challenging trip as soon as they come on, or have a pattern of having challenging trips, while other people who also have issues, who have trauma, who have things to resolve, have these blissful, beautiful, joyful experiences. What's the difference that makes the difference there? That's what we're going to be discussing today. Okay, so I think this will be really fun. Like I said in the intro, I wanted to do something a little bit different here and start to create more of a conversational space here on the channel with you guys. So instead of just doing kind of, videos that are brain dumps of mine based on whatever it is I'm thinking about or whatever I think might be relevant to you guys, or based on kind of themes I might see popping up in comments on Reddit or here on YouTube or, on blogs or what have you, I thought it would be more interesting to just use a response video to a great comment I got, a great question I got in the comments section, to a video that I posted earlier in the week. So that video was on kind of the nature of psychedelics to be a non-specific amplifier of our experience, and how oftentimes when we're taking the medicine, part of the reason that we have these big experiences of overwhelm or fear or stress or sadness is because that's kind of in the background or underneath, and we have to expect that that's the case, and we can't be treating psychedelics like a wish-fulfilling genie where you rub the lamp and the psychedelic genie comes out and grants your wish no matter whatever it is. They show you what's already here. Right, so this kind of ties into Stan Groff's idea of non-specific amplifiers, or his idea of psychedelics as a microscope for the mind to see more clearly what's going on in the nervous system. If you want to see that video, I'm going to leave a link here for you, so you can go ahead and click on that card. And before we go ahead and get into this main answer here, I want to just say, if you like this kind of response video, I've gotten requests also to do AMA content. So Ask Me Anything content, where you guys ask me questions and I kind of piece together a video with a bunch of replies to it. If that sounds like something you're interested in, please leave a comment down below or in any video moving forward. And you can just leave AMA and then whatever the question is, and I'll know to include it in an AMA. I'll do my best to get to all of them. Who knows, depends on how big the channel gets, how busy things get for me. But I would love to start to build a conversation with you guys and have fun with this. So, okay, in that spirit, let's go ahead and look at this question. I think there's a great question here, and I thought it would make for an interesting little share and kind of riff on my end. So Chris, who I think is a regular viewer of the channel, thank you for watching, Chris. Chris asks, do you have a sense of why some people with a lot of issues lean towards having challenging trips where their baggage is unpleasant and emotions are thrown in their faces, while others tend to have blissful, spiritually profound, seemingly healing ones? You'd think if psychedelics bring up what's there, they'd all have difficult trips, but some people with baggage tend to have enjoyable journeys, though whether they actually fix anything or are faux life-changing experiences is another story. So this is Chris's question, and I think it's a really good question. I think it's a really good point, and I want to talk about it with you guys. So I want to be clear up front here that this is my best guess. I don't know if there's any studies to back up what I'm about to say. I don't know if there's any hard science on this. I don't know that there's any solid data that we have that can validate what I'm about to say or not. So this is my hunch, my best guess, my observation, my intuition, my overall impression here. Okay, so take that with a grain of salt, use that however you want to use that. But it's not, this isn't something we can like empirically say. Okay, so my sense of it is that this question really gets at the inner healing intelligence. This question gets that there is an underlying part of us that decides what way we're going to respond to the input of the psychedelic when we put it in our body, right? So from what I've seen, there are generally different patterns of the ways people tend to respond to psychedelics. And that's kind of what Chris is highlighting here, right? Why is it that when we eat a psychedelic, you could end up having difficult experiences over and over, and then, other people who also have issues, have awesome experiences and joy and bliss and pleasure, right? Essentially, who decides what way your nervous system is going to go is the question that's really being asked here. And the answer to that is that I don't decide that as a coach if I'm working with someone, right? And you don't decide that consciously as a conscious mind when you eat the psychedelic. Who decides that? Your deeper system decides that, right? Your inner healing intelligence, your unconscious mind or your body, however you want to think of that. The deeper you that is involved in trying to self-heal, that knows what to do, that's the part of you that decides which way you're going to respond to the medicine, right? And this is something that I've seen over and over and over. And really, from my point of view, my job as a coach and a guide and someone working with people, and the journeyer's job is to listen and be open to whatever it is that the system wants to do. So, from our role, from my point of view, is kind of like being the surfer, right? Our job is to, engage with the waves, and however the waves go, adapt and work with that and ride them as skillfully as we can, and, turn that into some sort of an amazing moment of healing and growth and transformation, or, a wonderful experience. But we are not the wave, right? Your deeper unconscious mind is the one leading the direction of how things unfold, right? And our job is to listen, to adapt, to work with, to interact with, and allow the process to unfold. So this is, kind of a tough sell for those of us that want control, those of us that want certainty when we're taking the medicine. But it's really important to understand that one of the major features of psychedelics, in addition to their ability to be kind of non-specific amplifiers of our experience, is that they are naturally unpredictable. Another word you might use there is chaotic in the math sense. Chaos meaning that you don't know which way it's going to go, that there's a lot of different expressions to how this medicine shows up. So this is one of the things that makes psychedelics unique compared to other substances. So a lot of other substances, when you take them, they more or less hit you in the same way every time. It's a pretty predictable, consistent experience. And you get to know that, and you get to trust that, and you can kind of rely on that and then judge for yourself whether or not that's the right thing in the right moment. And that's not really the case with psychedelics, right? Part of the territory there is that because they cause the brain to crosstalk amongst different regions of the brain in new and different ways every time, there's a certain element of unpredictableness and chaoticness, and that is a feature of these medicines. That's a feature, not a bug, right? So I think I've given this metaphor before, and just kind of referencing the surfing metaphor I was just giving. It's like you've got to be able to be a big wave surfer, right? You've got to be able to develop that ability to, okay, I'm going to cast this, medicine into my body, and it's going to create these ripples, these waves, and those waves are going to go in whatever direction they want to go. Sometimes towards the problem, sometimes towards the thing I'm avoiding, or towards the thing that just needs to be processed. And my system is just saying, hey, it's time. Let's process this. I'm ready. This is what's up for me, right? Your system is telling you that. Sometimes it's towards a resource, or a blissful spiritual experience, or expansion, or towards an insight, or towards an introverted, self-reflective kind of way of engaging the medicine. Sometimes it'll push you more towards a very physical, somatic kind of thing where you want to run and move and self-express and be in your body and do things, right? The medicine's going to push you in whatever direction is right for your deeper system. And there's a little bit of like a leap of faith thing here, where we've got to have the courage to work with and trust our deeper system, and know that it's leading you in a productive direction. It's leading you towards what it is that's going to be useful or healing, and that may or may not be comfortable. That may or may not be something you're prepared for, but it knows what it's doing. And so this is really where, why I'm always talking about, teaching people about therapeutic skills and how to work with yourselves and the importance of therapeutic understandings and frameworks and models. The reason for that is that you've kind of front loaded yourself with understanding and know-how. This is also why you probably want to work with a guide or a therapist or something like that, right? Because if you're underskilled in adapting to these really different ways that it can go, it can really throw you off. And that in and of itself can be stressful and challenging and overwhelming and difficult and painful. But I'm kind of rambling. So if I'm going to summarize here, why is it that some people with issues have blissful experiences and some people with issues have really difficult experiences? It's because the deeper self, the deeper unconscious mind is deciding to go in whatever direction it wants to go in terms of what's going to be useful, right? So I really think if a person who has issues takes the medicine and has a blissful experience, that's probably because they needed resourcing in order to be able to deal with a problem, right? And for those that end up going straight towards the problem, it may be that your system is just really very direct, or feels like it has what it needs, or is ready to offload and process through the problem and let it go, right? And so you got to just kind of listen and trust that there's a deeper intelligence in there that makes you breathe without thinking about it, makes your heart beat without thinking about it, and is the store of all the information you've ever known, and is the filter of all the information that's coming into your nervous system that you don't need to use in a given moment, that has this deep reservoir of knowing and capability that is, evolutionarily tied into the whole chain of life and knows how to self-heal and self-correct and self-balance, right? That's all there in the background. And really the task is to trust that and have the tools in place to know how to work with that, right? So the other piece here in this conversation, of course, is just because your system goes there and it wants to, let's say, offload and work through and process the problem, doesn't mean that you have the tools. Doesn't mean that you know how to interact with that or lead that or work with that in a way that's safe or helpful or healing, right? And so that's really what this channel is about, and why I'm doing what I'm doing, and what I do a lot with my clients one-on-one is building those skills, building that capacity, building that understanding, those frameworks, and really getting you up to speed so that if that's the way it's going to go, you're ready, right? In the same way that a big wave surfer is like ready. Okay, things are going that way. I know how to know how to adapt to these conditions. And, also conversely, if things are going to go in a positive, blissful direction, I've seen this too, where people, they're like, I keep having great trips. I keep having blissful experiences, but I have all this trauma I want to process and I can't process it because I keep feeling good. What's wrong with me? And, the same on the other side of the coin there, if you keep going to these big positive experiences, knowing how to really soak that in and welcome that and let that open you and leverage that later for transformative use. So I hope that answers the question. So it's really about this deeper relationship to the rest of you. And it's really that part of you that decides, why, from my point of view. Again, I don't have any hard science to back this up. I don't even know if there's any hard science that could back this up. But this is what I see over and over and over. If we follow that thread of going towards the problem, when I'm working with someone, we usually see that there's a reason it's up, and it was the wiser move to work with it. And it's just that, the question is the person prepared to be able to work with a difficult experience or a difficult set of emotions or difficult insight, that kind of a thing. So anyways, that's my thoughts on that. I hope that's useful to you guys. And I would love to know what you think about this. Leave me a comment down below in the comments section. Of course, do me a favor, help me grow the channel here. Like, thumbs up, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I have more content on the way for you soon. My apologies about the little gap in videos here. It's been a busy, crazy week and kind of got behind a little bit, but hopefully this is helpful. I have more for you on the way soon, and I hope you're doing really well. Take care.